So hi, Woman Noise Podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
And we're here with
Rob.
And Sid's from The Wild Things.
And we're going to some questions to say about the upcoming album, Afterglow. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you guys feel about the response to the announcement so far?
Thank you. Slightly overwhelmed. We've been kind of sat on this since before lockdown and COVID and everything. So it's very surreal to be having it out finally, I suppose. But we're very excited. It's like seeing our child off to preschool for the first time, you know what I mean? So yeah. We're stoked on it.
Yeah, the album fucking rips.
Oh yes, it is incredible. Heaven Knows is so fucking good.
That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite. Thank you so much.
Yes,
That's so
of course.
Hell yeah.
Too good.
Do you know what's funny? Lots of people want to talk about the album announcement and all that sort of thing. You guys are literally the first people that have told us their opinions on the album.
Yeah.
So just this, like the opening 30 seconds of 30 seconds of this podcast means so much to me, and I'm going to say to Sid as well. So genuinely, thank you. That means a lot.
Of course, guys.
Of course. Yeah.
That's why we squealed.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. But you mentioned you guys have been sitting on this since like before, lockdown ended. So I'm curious, can we give some starting and ending timelines of when you guys kind of started working on this and when recording wrapped up?
Yeah, so it was kind of it's more like bits and pieces as opposed to, I suppose, what a traditional thing would be is going into a studio, recording an album, maybe writing some of it, whatever. We had written about 4 demos, and Rob and I met through working with Pete Townsend a few years ago, and at the time I'd sort of bullied him into giving me his email address, so I'd kept that.
Townsend, not me.
Yeah, no, Rob was easy. But at the time we had kind of been making music, and I would send him demos a lot, and he would usually, quite frankly, come out and say, "This is shit. Why are you sending this to me?" Which, that's a good way to kind of improve your craft. And then eventually we sent him 2 or 3 of these demos that we had written. It must have been about 2019, do you think?
Yeah, 2018 maybe.
2018, 2019. And he was like, "Can I give you a ring?" And he said, "I'm really interested in these. Why don't you come to my studio and we'll work on it?" And at the time, we didn't necessarily know what that meant. We weren't maybe gearing towards what the album is now by any stretch. But we went there, we stayed at his studio on the property for a while, and we ended up with the beginning of Afterglow, which was amazing. And we were sort of figuring out what it was going to become. And then COVID happened, which I've said this before. I don't want to say it was a blessing, but do you know what I mean? In the sense that it gave us time, which we wouldn't necessarily, I don't think, have had otherwise, to really look at what we were creating and figure out the story, the journey, the concept of it, yada, yada. And then we were sort of periodically back and forth between, Pete's studios or our studio whenever it was safe. And yeah, Afterglow then happened. And then I think it was definitely finished by 2022 when we did a bit of touring with The Who. And yeah, we've just basically been sat on it since then, because we were like, we're not quite ready yet. We want to go out in the world ourselves a bit more before we give it to everyone. I know that sounds a bit silly, but we wanted a bit more of a platform rather than just going here it is,
Yeah.
We're proud of it. We're proud of it.
Yeah, spent so much time working on it. It's why not build up the platform a little bit so that it at least reaches a base audience?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, we love it so much. Even if 5 people listen to it, we will be stoked on that. But if a lot more than 5 listen to it, even better.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So is there any meaning behind the album title or cover art?
Yes. I'll give you this one, Rob. Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, the cover art is, again, to say this was an evolving project. The first single we put out was Only Attraction, and the artist we dealt with, who was amazing, Giles, he came back with this sort of very evocative, almost 50s-esque thing. It's like Sid's in the stars, and there's this town in the background and stuff. And my friend Barney, who I work on a lot of our graphics and design with, had the idea to do this. It's sort of like a photo frame of the picture, and we thought, well, that would be a really cool motif for all of the singles. So
Mhm.
because we didn't know how or when all this was going to be released. So at least if everything's in this photo frame, you can go, oh, that's canon in the
Mhm.
lead up to the work. And as we started pulling out all the singles, we realized that each one was actually thematic to the overall piece. So when it came to doing the album, the street you see is the street that's on the original Only Attraction
Cover art.
single art, yeah. And then there's sort of tiny clues through the whole picture of like the font of Heaven Knows is hidden. The bar on the street we called Drunk Again, which is the name of the one of the singles. So we put
Yeah.
a lot of effort sort of it's this weird thing because of the time we've had and because we've spent so long, there's this constant push-pull where ideas keep appearing, but at the same time, the seeds have always been there, whether we've realized it or not. It's very strange, but kind of really lovely the way that.
It's difficult to kind of hold yourself back from going to the extremes, I
Yeah.
think, with it. But
Yeah. Sorry, what was the second part of the question? I got lost on that first one.
You're good.
Just cover art meaning and title meaning.
the title,
Oh yeah, title meaning.
Mhm.
Title meaning was we got this because we were writing the album and there's a song on it called Paradise.
Mhm.
And we had the song finished. And then as we were recording, we just started jamming at the end.
Mhm.
And it's sort of like it breaks down a little bit. It's which we weren't really trying to do anything with, but we loved so much. And we just randomly said, for no reason whatsoever, as lyrics, found you in the afterglow, far side of town, not much in the afterglow, see you around. And it was its initial intention was like, just about fucking. But
Mhm.
then it was like, oh wait, I feel like this lyric has come to us for a very specific reason. And we're like, maybe that's the title of the album.
Yeah, that was when the story kind of birthed itself.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Everything about this album has been they sort of these incredible pieces keep presenting themselves, but it's like they've literally been there since the first song. It's really weird and hard to describe, but I hope that makes sense without sounding.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Zoom agrees.
Yeah.
So can you guys tell us a little bit about your writing process for the album?
I think our writing process kind of we're still learning, I think is a good way to put it, because it can change anytime we make a song, anytime we go in to do anything really. And sometimes songs will stem from like a little guitar riff that Rob has been playing, just jamming, and then the song will be written in quite literally 10 minutes, or it can be a riff that somebody has played or a lyric, and we will work on it for weeks. And it goes through about 8 different versions of itself before it gets to the place that we're happy with it. Like there's a song on this record called My Heart Is in New York. And the demo for that is so vastly different to what it ended up being. Which I think is very much a testament to kind of how our writing style
It's almost
goes.
like a Motown sort of.
Yeah, it's all like rockabilly. It's very upbeat and punchy, and what it's ended up is more ballady and emotional. And it's difficult to kind of put one kind of style to the way that we write as well, because Rob and I are married, and then my brother's in the band, and then our drummer Pete is like our best friend in the world. So we have this, we're always in each other's pockets, always on top of each other on a constant basis. So it's less like, right, we're going into the studio to write this day. It's more like, I've had this idea, I've worked on it, let's see. We're not very good necessarily at going into a studio, giving ourselves a certain amount of time to write and then coming out with anything. I feel like forced inspiration doesn't really happen.
Yeah.
And this album was kind of the same, I think, again, because we had so much time.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Gotcha. So what song off the album took longest to write, and which one is each of your own personal favorite?
Ooh.
Longest to write.
There's
a track on the album called Drunk Again. That was the longest to write, not necessarily because it was the longest to write, but it was the riff was a completely different structure and time signature that me and Cam, who produced the album with Pete executive producing, it was just a riff we used to just fuck around with all the time. And when we straightened it out, one time we were messing around, we're like, oh, this is a song. But the actual riff had been something we were messing around with. It was like a Beatles-esque song,
Yeah,
song
yeah.
at one point with like big sing-along Lars and all this sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
Huh.
So, yeah, I think in terms of, it's weird, in terms of figuring out structure, it's probably one of the fastest to be done. But in terms of the song existing in some shape, it was probably took about 2 years before it.
Is that your favorite?
I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's definitely that bit that questions for you to answer because I can.
Well, I have many well, I have Heaven Knows is one of my favorite. That is my absolute favorite to do live. It is, I get my guitar is taken away from me. I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Hell yeah.
So that's by far my I like to get in the audience and scream in their faces. Sorry, future audiences. I'm very sorry. But I think my favorite, like from just a complete music standpoint, is the last track on the album called Make Our Own Way There, which is, it's kind of 80s-esque, very atmospheric. It's got a kind of nostalgic quality about it that I can't even put my finger on, but it takes me to a different place, even though I'm one of those people that can't stand the sound of their own voices, but I will listen to that. I'll be like, yeah, I need to go to my happy place. Where's Make Our Own Way There? Come on. That's always the first one I put on, you know?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Rob, do you have a favorite, or is it like, I don't want to pick one of my favorite kids?
No, I hate all my kids.
It makes it easier.
Not that my children.
Oh,
No, they're all special in their own way. I'll share a funny story about Heaven Knows that I haven't told anybody yet. When we were writing the lyrics for it, I was listening to a lot of Tyler the Creator, and
damn right.
yeah, but I was getting really annoyed about the fact that male rappers can get away with so much, and any sort of female response to it is immediately sort of like plucked apart and vilified. Like they can throw around derogatory terms, do awful things, and people are like, yeah, lifestyle. And then when it comes to women, they're like, you know, like that one line that Billie Eilish recently sung, and everybody was like, oh, you're being so predatory. And I was like,
that shit's so weird. Yeah.
So weird. So when it came to writing the lyrics, me and Sid sat down because there's so many different parts of the song. It struck me, it felt like it was touching bases of a lot of different eras of rock and roll. So when I sat down with Sid, I was like, I think you should write the lyrics as if you were a rap artist, but taking control of all of these different genres. So it's got like the breakdown of like a Little Richard sort of like spoken word section. The end is quite a Ramones punky sort of thing. So it's kind of like, it's a subtle like fuck you to women not being able to like have that style of things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
But
Yeah.
so that's just for you. There you go.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah. Thank you.
So how'd the track list for the album come about? Did you guys write the opener be the opener, close to be a closer, shuffle around and see what fits? What was that process like?
That was very much, again, when we had come, I would say when the concept of the album had decided what it was going to be, I feel like it had a power over us, right? Which sounds so wanky, but I promise that like it was not very intentional. It just sort of, as Rob said, came to be. I think the Only Attraction had to come first because it was the very first one we wrote, and went into the studio with Pete on, and he was like, this slaps, let's do it, you know what I mean? But then in terms of like the story, that's what made sense to us, that order. But again, you know, when the album comes out, and because we call it a Choose Your Own Adventure album, we kind of encourage people to playlist it in whatever order they want. And whether that's just like 3 of the songs, it doesn't have to be the whole 12, to kind of make their own route for it, if that makes sense. I think, I don't know exactly when I don't think we ever sat down and went, this is the order. That was just kind of what we always had written down. And we were just like, oh, okay, well, that's how we do it. So let's go with that, you know?
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's almost not a track listing. It's more like an example.
Yeah.
The real dream is I would literally die if people sent me messages and they're like, this is how I see the album, or this is my story. That would be awesome.
I agree.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm curious, like, at what point was that kind of figured out or decided that that's how you guys wanted to present the record, and like this like choose your own adventure style?
I mean, I think when you're working with Pete Townsend, you kind of have to up your own game because he's the king of concept albums.
Mhm.
Like he is the literal god of that,
Yeah,
you know. But also we've never really been a band as we've evolved who I don't want to say we don't like to do things traditionally because I don't want to sound better than anyone else. I'm not knocking that by any stretch. You know, we've had one album out that we put out ourselves before that was just a bunch of songs that we were really excited to show people and play at gigs.
Mhm.
But I think for this one, and because of what was going on in the world around, there was a lot of escapism that was happening with us. And because, you know, a lot of lyrics with what we were going through couldn't just be written from our own perspective about how shit this is and how
Mhm.
crap the world is and how the news is always bad and yada yada. And we kind of used it as leaving that world to kind of go to our own thing. You know, me and Rob are big video game players, comic book readers, you know, we're big nerds. And we always kind of have been. And I think that came through in the writing. And I don't know whether we intended it to be what it is. Townsend certainly helped. But and the timing helped, and then it became that. And because we always do, we do basically everything ourselves, the visuals, the music videos, Rob directs them all. The way that we have collaborated with other artists, we've made those connections ourselves. You know, we don't reach out to somebody's people. We just kind of do everything ourselves. And we wanted to make this album a challenge for ourselves rather than just here's a bunch of songs we really like, because we've done that. So
Yeah.
I mean, God knows what we're going to do for the next one. Honestly, that's going to be. I feel like we're kind of, you know, doing the whole OK Go music video thing. Like they always up it every time.
Yeah.
I don't know how we're going to do that with the next album, but I don't have to focus on that yet because we're talking about Afterglow.
There
It's
you
not
go.
Exactly.
even yet. So see, I'm
Come on.
already ahead of myself.
Yeah.
One thing at a time. One thing at a time.
I know,
Yeah,
I'm
right?
sorry.
So would you guys be able to tell us where your headspace is at while you're creating this record?
Mm. Oh gosh. I mean, it depends how maudlin you want to get. You know, not from like a creative perspective, brilliant. And
Okay.
in terms of, you know, everything that came after the album was kind of completed, or I should say the last song was written, brilliant, because it's the most diverse I think we've ever been in our writing and what we've done and all of the instrumentation in it as well. I think because the nature of where the world was at the time, I was in a pretty bad headspace. But I'm very pleased to say I'm out of that now.
That's good.
But you know, I think creating this and finishing it was both a wonderful thing and a kind of sad thing, because you go like, oh, it's done. You know, we've done it. And I know it's not out in the world, but you're like, well, I don't need to do anything else now with this. That story is complete for all intents and purposes. So it was maybe a little depressing. I didn't mean to kind of bring down the conversation either.
It was an honest
No,
answer.
not at all.
No, it was an honest answer. It was lovely.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
How did you feel? Did you feel good?
Yes.
There we go. He said yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
I love just I'm a little bit obsessed with all the paintings and posters you guys have in the background as well. That is that a monster truck in one at the background?
Fuck yeah. Signed by the driver.
Shut up.
Yeah.
That's right.
I don't know where to begin with all of your pictures and posters. They're all
It's
so
a
interesting.
lot. Yeah.
Is there a theme or a tone or like?
It's just music that I really, really fuck with. I
love
got
it.
That's-
Flower Boy. I have a Water Parks album. I have Chainsaw Man, the anime, a Denji.
Oh, God, so
I have my friend's poster. I have John Wick in the background. My dog is in the background. It's just a lot.
that is rad.
I love it.
That is rad. We feel like naked in this is just a
Just put
boring
something on the
flat.
TV. Just put something on the TV.
Well, yeah, we did have Vanderpump Rules on, but we turned that off out of respect because
Oh,
you know, reality TV.
Yeah.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
So how do you guys recommend your fans to listen to this album for the first time? Should they do it in the car with friends, in the dark with headphones on? Is it a workout album, party album? What do you guys personally recommend?
Me personally, I would say headphones, noise cancelling, preferable. In your own space, in whatever is comfiest for you to really immerse yourself in it, but most definitely on shuffle. to kind of experience it. Or, well, it depends if you want to experience it how we've done it.
I was going to say, that's brave. I like it.
Well,
Right.
I would go in on shuffle.
I dig it.
I would go in on shuffle personally, because I've only actually ever done that a couple times. But you know, it's unique for me every
That is a
time.
risky.
I know. Well,
Right.
hey, that's me. I think it's an intimate experience the first time.
Mhm.
Yeah, headphones. I think headphones are really nice. We we finished the album a while ago, but we sent it to get mastered again because it's been so long, and they came back like 3 weeks before we were ready to send this off, and our guy Hippie over at Metropolis did such an incredible job that it was almost like I found the album.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Wow.
headphones, I think,
Hell yeah.
and then
Headphones.
yeah,
On shuffle or in order?
I think in order because you said shuffle.
Okay.
Okay.
I know we're going with the choose your own adventure thing, but that is the first time an artist has ever said, listen to my record the first time on shuffle. It's always like,
Shuffle.
if you listen to on shuffle, you're listening to it the wrong way. So I respect that. Bold.
Yeah, it's
Thank you.
crazy.
I kind of love it.
It's a choose your own adventure album. Like, don't just do it our way. Go straight in with a random way. It's like a Rubik's Cube, you know, and then you get to go in and figure it out and twist it and turn it yourself.
Huh.
There you go.
Fuck with that.
That's
Hell
my
yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
Love
Huh.
that.
I'm glad. Thank you.
Wonderful. And this question should be super, super quick. Off the top of your heads, I want you guys to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words. 3 words each, 6 total, no more, no less.
You go first.
Ooh.
They're not my words.
You
Oh.
go first.
They're not my words. They're not my words. They're not my words.
Cinematic, hopeful,
Mhm.
and unique.
Nice.
Ooh.
All right. Nostalgic,
Good one.
Mhm.
mystifying. I'm trying to think of the word.
Longest answer, yeah.
Explosive. I'm trying to think of the word for slap in your face because it's weird. But
Uh-huh.
there's a word for slap in the face. We suck at this, don't we?
Jarring,
Your face.
Jarring sounds a bit.
intense, a bit too intense.
Oh, intense is quite good. Maybe. Maybe. Oh, what did I say? Nostalgic, mystifying, and
Slap at the face.
Slap it.
slap in the face. That's not a
Yeah,
word.
yeah, yeah.
That's there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
There you go.
we'll make it
Hyphen
one word.
Yeah.
I'm
Perfect,
so
perfect.
sorry I suck at this game.
It's
Oh,
okay.
it's perfect.
So in that same train of thought, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want listeners to have while going through the album?
Rob's word hopeful was very good because I think that it was written in a time when we didn't have a lot of that. So I like to think that, especially as in our way that we've placed the tracks, as the album goes on, it certainly becomes, I think, more of a hopeful thing. You know, it can get a bit heavy or not emotionally. I just mean like sonically heavy in the middle and more rocky. But as it enters its kind of finale, it gets a lot more kind of, I don't know, this feeling of, hope. I love that because, again, like I said, the time it was written.
I remember seeing this episode of South Park where I know, right?
Love South Park.
I know. There was I can't remember the context, but there was like Stan and somebody else became goths, and Butters wouldn't become a goth even though he was super bummed out, and Stan was like, "The world's shit. Why?" And Butters was like, "Well, you got to have the sad stuff to realize how great the wonderful stuff is." That I think that informs everything I do on my perspective, that you have to have some peril and a little bit of sadness sprinkled into things so that you can really understand how bright and beautiful things are at the other side of
I love that.
Stuff.
That's very true.
Hell yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Love it.
Butters is too goddamn smart, and oh my god, he deserves the world, man. He's so good.
Absolutely agree.
Was an angel.
Right. Oh my god. So are you guys able to touch on any particularly challenging or standout moments during the creation of this album, positive or negative?
How am I allowed to talk about like slightly naughty substances on here?
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
People do all the time.
That's cool. I got really, really high at Townsend's studio. He did not know It was after we'd recorded some of it, and I basically passed out, but on the outside of his property.
Oh.
I don't smoke anything, so this was a rarity. I took it too hard.
Yeah.
For the rest of the time that we were working with him, I was paranoid that he'd seen it and was judging me. Do you know what I mean? He was gonna like kick me out.
Yeah.
So that was my most down
like
moment.
Townsend's ever gonna have
I know.
somebody in a band doing drugs.
I mean, you never know. You never know. I respect him a lot, and I didn't want him to think less of me. So that sort of week in peril was my most down moment, I think, during the record.
Oh my God.
But other than that, like no real emotional kind of outbursts again, because it was escapism. It was a story. The lyrics weren't necessarily a place from, maybe some of it, but not a dark place where I was coming from. It was more, getting to pretend to be these people and act these scenarios, which was wonderful. So that was my only negative, I think. I'm sorry, Townsend, if you ever listen to this and you didn't happen to see me face planting in your driveway, I'm so sorry to
He
tell
just
you this
found
now.
out.
Did you just like wake up like an hour later or something? Like, what happened?
I don't remember very much. I obviously smoked it, and then the guys said that I did some kind of like ballerina pirouette and face planted.
Ice skating where like one person holds a hand and they like go spinning to the floor.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Just like she was like there, and then my arm just went down, and she's like fucking like rotating as she.
Oh my God.
I mean, they were trying to pick me up and carry me back indoors. And my brother Cam, the bassist, who God bless him, he's a very caring brother. But something like that happens, and it's the end of the world. So he's having like a panic attack. Rob is pissing.
We're all stoned.
Yeah, because we're all stoned, by the way. Rob is pissing himself laughing.
Yeah.
We're like nobody. I don't know where I am at that time. So I think he just attempted to carry me inside, but I kept going down.
You refused to use your legs. You were just like, fuck it.
Yeah, SpongeBob legs. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, that shit happens.
I mean, it's a fun memory now, but it's one of those anxiety that, 2:00 in the morning, eyes snap open. Did Pete see that?
Yeah.
Those. But oh well.
Yeah.
Rob, any moments, memories for you?
Do you pass out?
Am I telling that?
Yeah, you have to now. Yours is just the mine.
No.
Literally like a day after that, I got the most extreme food poisoning you've ever known.
Oh my God.
Yeah, in Pete's other house. So I shat and threw up everywhere in Pete's place. But they were all recording, and I'm like shivering, trying to like clean up myself. and the water wasn't working, so I could only get this much hot water in an entire bath. So I'd throw up, and then I'd climb into the small
puddle
water.
Yeah,
I'm crying. I'm genuinely screaming, "Let me die," because I know nobody else can hear me, and and then I have to like roll out of the bath to throw up, sit by trying to get that much hot water in again, and then like climb back in. At the end of the day was my guitar parts.
Oh, it's beautiful. We've this amazing photo of him doing like the most wide-legged splits, just trying to keep himself standing, playing one chord. Like
I only had the energy to move one arm, so I could only do the song that has one chord.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning against the thing, just going like, I just have to play guitar in front of Pete Townsend. That's all I want to do with my life. Holding one chord.
It was you did recover, but he also
it was a nightmare.
He did throw up on Townsend's floor at one point, and he was too sick to like do anything, so he just covered it up with one of his probably very expensive rugs and went, "That'll do."
Oh, and you just left it to be found another day?
I cleaned it the next day.
Okay.
It was just marinating there for a whole day.
The smell, bro.
I was in a bath screaming, "Let me die." I was like,
me and Rob have been together a long time. I've never seen him that bad. Ever. Ever. I thought he was going to die. We were all like, well, do we carry on recording or should we call an ambulance? Well, we'll carry on. We'll record for a bit more. See how he is in like an hour.
He'll be all right.
Yeah.
It was great.
So don't call an ambulance. Please continue the process.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Shit.
I did not expect Rob to also have an experience like that when Gloria was like, did he also pass out?
Yeah, that was a joke.
Basically, yeah.
I was going to tell
Christ.
her, but objectively, I realized now I was going to tell a really boring story until you reminded me of that.
I will never let you forget it. I will
There we
never
go.
let you forget
There you
it.
It's great.
Ever.
Fucking wild.
So for this question, I want you guys to picture you're on tour. You're at a gas station for a rest stop. What is your snack of choice?
Ooh,
Oh, fruit snacks. I love. We don't get fruit snacks over here.
Welch's fruit
Ooh.
snacks.
Yeah,
Love them.
Ooh, damn right.
the cherry grapefruit, that the red pack.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they're very
Absolutely,
good.
that one.
Yep.
I'll lean back now because I'm done.
That's an immediate answer. I don't know what I go for. I've been vegan for like 7 years, so I'm not well versed in the. I'm the person that brings a Tupperware of food everywhere they go anyway. So
Yeah.
maybe I would opt for like a cup of tea. What?
But when we were in America, you had that. It was like dried mango pieces.
Oh,
coated
with
in-
tahini. That is
Oh, that's so
that's
good.
what I want. That is what
Mhm.
dried mango with tahini. Oh my gosh, yes, a million times yes. That is what. Thank you.
Perfection.
Yeah.
What about you guys? You take recommend us some stuff.
Oh my God. Gas station snack. Oh, it's so weird. I've really been fucking with just gas station grapes recently. They're just
Ooh.
really
I
cold.
agree.
They're de-stemmed.
I agree with that
Mhm.
wholeheartedly.
De-stemmed,
Yeah.
isn't it?
So, yeah.
Yeah. It's like popcorn, but better,
Yes.
you know?
Better
Yes.
for you, yeah.
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 Lay's dill pickle potato chips.
Mm. Yeah, those
I
are
love
good.
them so much. They've got like milk powder in them, so I can't have them. But I buy the seasoning and I put them on normal like Ruffles or whatever.
Mm.
Ooh.
Not here in the US because I'm
Mm-mm.
also vegan, so I have to look out
Yeah.
for that shit. Those
No.
I'm like 98% sure they're vegan unless something has changed.
No, they're
recently.
vegan.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're vegan.
Because Lay's for you guys is Walkers for us, and
Yeah.
they all have milk in them. So I don't get that. But we also have boring flavors. We don't get the dill pickle. But
Yeah.
thank you for changing my life.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
so excited to come back and hoard all of the dill pickle crisps.
Absolutely.
There you
Thank
go.
you, Lay.
Fucking good.
Hell yeah.
Mhm, mhm. And on the topic of food, if the band was a dish, what dish would the band be and why?
Ooh,
Mhm.
these are creative questions. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I was gonna say pizza, but that's just
That's-
because I like pizza.
Yeah, I was also going to say bread and hummus because I like bread and hummus, and that's
Yeah.
nothing.
Ooh.
Maybe, I think it would be it's a nostalgic candy.
Well, you're spicy and fiery,
Okay,
so
thank you.
you're like you're one piece of that puzzle.
Okay,
Cam is very specific.
yep,
I am
blue.
blue. Okay, so where are we going with that?
Big baby bop lollipop with tahini on it.
Oh,
A blue one.
damn.
That's
With-
not a meal, but I'm.
Why not?
We'll
That's
take it.
Oh, it's not a
It
meal,
works.
is it? No, it's
No,
not
it's
a
okay.
dish. I mean, again, I would say something nostalgic. So like cinema popcorn, but with something else other than just the butter on
Not
it.
a meal still.
That is a meal to me.
We'll take it. We'll take
I
it.
go
And
to
we'll
the
put
I
blue
do
dye
feel
on
like
it.
that
That
does
is my
count as a
dinner.
meal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the popcorn is my dinner.
Where does Pete? Oh, Pete the drummer. He's the shot. He's the alcohol.
Oh, he's the
shot.
alcohol shot to go with it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
sure.
with either
Tequila.
the lollipop or popcorn, there's just a random shot
There's
that's in
there's
there
a shot of
too.
tequila by the side of it, and that is what
Yeah.
our drummer is. Yeah.
Sounds like a good time. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't line the stomach so well, but you're gonna have a good
The
night.
meal of a psychopath.
Oh Christ.
Oh.
Oh
If
my
you're
God.
one person, it might be easier, but you've got to factor in 4 people.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for the last couple questions, we're going to shift completely away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
It'll be a tequila, a big baby buffalo,
Cinema popcorn.
Cinema popcorn.
Oh, Christ.
Mine is so simple. Mine is toasted whole wheat pita bread with hummus, some kind of chili drizzle on top of there, and some vegan feta sprinkled on top of that hummus. That is me done. That would be
That's a dream.
I'm having that tonight.
Nice.
So it's
Hell
that is
yeah.
I love bread, I love hummus, I love vegan feta.
Mhm.
That's it.
And what do you-
And my drink would be a diet root beer. It's my
Nice.
favorite
Ooh.
ever.
And I think you'd be on death row for murdering me, so I don't
Maybe.
really have to answer that question.
No,
Are you
You
just
there?
trying to get out of this?
I know.
that's such a cop-out answer.
No, I was I was talking to my mum yesterday, and we were reminiscing how when I was a kid, I used to have like a giant volcano made of mashed potato that would have pork sausages in as little boulders, and then
Yeah.
ketchup as the lava. So I'm gonna roll with that.
That's a good one.
Childhood.
Hell yeah.
All right, hell yeah.
That's a good
Fuck
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
And if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
Valentine.
Mm.
The town we created for this album, because it's everything we want it to be.
Mhm.
Mysterious, nostalgic, kind of Stranger Thingsy, and kind of, I'm sure it's a very British idea of what tiny town America might be over the course of like a bunch of years or decades.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
that for me is kind of my ideal, on a personal level, I think.
Mm.
Or somewhere with dinosaurs.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's my other one.
I like that. I'm gonna go with that too. Valentine. That's a good choice.
Okay.
That's good. All right.
Not dinosaur?
We don't dinosaurs.
Fool.
Oh,
Okay.
fuck. Mm.
And I've done our best. The last question. Every single person that we've spoken to have said that it is the most important question. What's your favorite color?
Right
Blue.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blue. Mm.
Mine is a 50-50 between purple and mustard yellow.
Ooh,
Nice.
mustard yellow. Fuck
I
yeah.
think mustard just takes the top spot for me. I
Alright.
love the color mustard.
What about you guys?
Fuck yeah.
Purple.
Bright ass yellow. Fucking duct tape yellow.
I love that.
I
Like
love it
Sid's-
so much.
No, this isn't yellow enough.
Yeah,
That's
no,
so
it needs to be
yellow.
like my
I know what you mean.
eyes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Offensive,
Neon
yeah.
and neon.
I meant, like,
Yeah.
obnoxious as fuck.
Oh,
Yeah.
See you from miles away. A beacon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I am here. Yeah, that yes.
I get it.
Love it.
Completely.
Love it.
So as I said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you guys like to plug?
Listen to our album,
Mm.
Afterglow. It's out September 13th. We can't wait for you to have it, and playlist it however you want. You make the story your own. Don't just listen to it in the order that we want. Also, if you want to do stuff before the record comes out, we have a old school nostalgic web game on our website that you can play to explore the town. That kind of explains the story and how the songs fit in. And yeah, I'm sure there's some other stuff amongst our sort of social media and our website that you can find to.
There's some UK shows.
Oh, we're doing some UK shows on September 19th, 20th, and 21st. That's just like a mini Afterglow release tour. And yeah, I think that's everything.
Yeah. Just tell us if you dig it. Like,
Yeah.
if you love one song, I love that. If you love the whole album, I love that. If you love the whole album in your own way, if you want to explore everything we've done on this. Some people have like sent in artwork already, and somebody wants to make like a zine. Honestly, I just want it to be out so I can give it to people and be like,
Yeah.
now we've done all of our bit. This is your bit now, please.
Make it your own.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right.
Love
Well,
it.
thank you for now. This guy's been Rob and Sid from The Wild Things, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.